Now for the pig.
Shit. Fucked it up already.
It's time now for the pig and the hen.
Pig and the Hen Show.
It's time now for the pig and the hen show.
Pig and the Hen Show. Pig and the Hen Show.
It's time now for the pig and the hen.
Pig and the Hen Show. Pig and the Hen Show.
It's time now for the pig and the hen show.
Pig and the Hen Show. Pig and the Hen Show.
You're right, guys. How's it going? It's the Flying Pig here, joined by Henry Hotspur on this week's edition of the Pig and the Hen Show podcast, where we're going to get into lots of random things, football related, talk about some of the major sporting headlines that's currently going on with both of our teams and anything else in the footballing world. So, how are you doing then, Henry? All right?
I'm very well. As you can see, I've taken a stationary position this evening. I'm hoping people prefer that. I mean, we've had comments saying that they don't want to see my face. It's better that I'm in the dark, but I don't know. Surely you miss me. Surely you're happy to see me in the light. I'm not going to walk around. Can you see me okay there, Mr. Peg?
I can see you absolutely fine, mate. Much better than we usually can, man. This is a step up. It should piss down with rain more often, mate. Makes you take refuge, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. No, we have got, it's pretty much monsoon season here. Should we call it that? Yeah, if I'm walking around, I'm going to get drenched. It's actually kind of stopped raining now. But no, obviously, I'm just going to stay here so that you can see me. And yeah, it's just it's a bit more of a, hopefully a stable connection. We got disconnected last time. Don't want that to happen again.
No, that's awesome, man. I think it's actually much better than it is. The thing is, when you're moving around all the time as well, like you probably are dipping in and out of connection. We seem to have got a pretty decent one right now. So yeah, I mean, let's get stuck into this show. Obviously, last week we did have a few issues. It's seeming a lot better already. I want to talk about lots of things to do with United and Spurs, I guess, if you want to talk about shite like that. I don't really want to, but, you know, you are a Spurs fan. But to do with United, I mean, obviously, the big headline that's dominating the headlines today is there's a potential deal for Romelu Lukaku to go to Juventus with Paulo Dybala coming in the opposite direction in some sort of a monumental swap deal where we just pull the pants down of Juve. You know what I mean? Because, you know, apparently Dybala's one of the highest value players. He's one of the best players. If you look at his goal scoring rate, by the time he's been at Juventus, it's pretty much 1 in 2. Very respectable. Somebody who is versatile and plays across the front line. Definitely a player I'd like to see play at United because he's more of the type of traditional United forward, the more technically gifted player, the more intelligent player, the more natural player than Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, Lukaku's a great player. That's why Juventus want him, and that they obviously got a certain style of play that they want to play. Maybe Dybala's not happy with the sheer amount of competition that is at Juventus, and Lukaku's going to have to deal with that too. But I just think if we could get that done, if we could get Dybala in and Lukaku go in the opposite direction, that would be an absolute mastermind because, let's face it, Lukaku's a complete donkey. I mean, he's not a complete donkey, don't get me wrong, but he's basically a half donkey. Do you know what I mean?
A half donkey.
He's a half donkey.
That's a
mate.
mule, isn't it? Is that not a mule? What is a mule, mate?
I think a mule's just a donkey, isn't it? Maybe a scabby donkey.
No. There's a half horse, half donkey is a mule, is it not?
Well, you might be right, mate.
Mules can't have children.
Okay, well, maybe it's just a male donkey then.
That's no slight of Lukaku. I'm not comparing Lukaku.
It must be a male donkey then,
or
mate.
a donkey or anything at all. All I'm saying is, no. If a horse fucks a donkey and they have a kid, I don't know which out of the two animals gets pregnant and actually spits out a child. But that thing is called a mule, and it can't have kids itself. I'm pretty sure that's true, mate. It's, one of the useful things my granddad taught me. Anyway.
Your granddad, one of the useful things your granddad taught you. Crikey, I'd love to know what else he taught you then, if that's one of the useful things.
I don't know, mate. I mean, I think I'm right. But anyway, yeah, Dybala,
Respect.
Lukaku, okay? Lukaku, Everton really stood out, wasn't he? Really stood out. What a player he was. He had his times at United. I don't completely blame Romelu for not having the best of times at United at all times, because best of times at United at all times hasn't been there for any player. You can't pick out any United player that has looked, top of his game over the last half decade in some respects, because the team hasn't been there. The management's been changing. It's been turbulent times for Manchester United. Does he need to go? To be honest, it's not for me to say. I mean, I like Lukaku, I do. I'll let you speak, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he is a good player. Like, you don't score 25 goals a season for a couple of seasons in the Premier League for Everton if you're not a good player. He obviously is a good player. I just think that he doesn't benefit United in how the style of system we want to play, which is maybe with forwards who are sort of playing on the last man a bit more, getting in behind, looking for those balls in behind defences and over the top of defences. And obviously when you've got Lukaku up there, he sort of plays, you have to play to Lukaku's strength, which is getting the ball into him, getting it into his head, allowing him to, hold the ball up and play in the wide men and things like that, which is great, and you can be successful like that. But I just think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to play the bit more traditional United way, which is with those pacey forwards getting in behind, and I like that. And Dybala would fit that bill. Paulo Dybala would fit that bill, whereas Lukaku, he doesn't fit that bill. And unfortunately, yeah, he's a good impact player for United, but he really is a better player than just being United's backup. So I can understand why he want to go to Juve. But then he's going to be a backup at Juve as well, because who've they got? They've got Ronaldo, they've got Mandzukic, and they've also got Higuain. So who's he going to knock out of the team? I mean, they're all technically gifted.
Well,
players.
this is it. If Lukaku's ready to go, you got to let him go. I think Dybala, as he said, it is a better fit. Romelu Lukaku for me has not been the problem at Manchester United. I don't think he has caused an issue at Manchester United. I think he's a good player that hasn't been able to shine because of a whole series of issues, including some of his own personal failings of being able to carry himself week in, week out. But I don't think you could accuse Romelu of being a lazy player. I always think he does. He puts the effort in. It just hasn't worked for him necessarily at all times.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he did have some issues in the last season as well. He was on compassionate leave for a while and stuff. That can mess with you. I'm not sure what it was for now. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be good for whoever he goes and plays for, as long as they do play to his strengths. I just think that Juventus right now, it seems like a good out for him, because obviously he's not performing at United. Half of the fans probably don't rate him very much. He could probably feel that negativity, and he wants a fresh start over there in Turin and play for Juventus in a top team, actually are in the Champions League, actually win silverware as well, because they're just going to win Serie A. So for him, it makes perfect sense. But at the same time, it's a shame. It is a shame it didn't work out for him, because I remember being so happy when we signed him. You would be, wouldn't you? He was a physical beast. You're looking at the amount of goals scored in his Premier League career, even at West Brom. I think he got 15 or 16 on loan from Chelsea one season while he was at West Brom, which goes to show you that he's probably feeding off scraps half the time there. And then at United, it just didn't really materialise. Yeah, he scored some goals here and there. He actually started really well at Manchester United, but then it just went completely to shite. Like you say, though, you can't really blame him, because the whole team was shite. Nobody's performed. Like you said, nobody's performed to the highest of standards that you would expect them as individuals to reach. None of them. Whether it's Pogba, whether it's Sanchez, all these big-name players, none of them have performed to the levels that they should, and Lukaku's just one of the very many. The only one I can think of is David De Gea, and even he had an absolute melt job towards the end of the last season. So, yeah, get the deal done, I say. Apparently his agent was in London yesterday or today or whenever to discuss the deal with Manchester United. I hope it's true, because I think United at the moment, we're in that position where there's not that many top players we can lure to the United unless we're going to pay them a ridiculous amount of money. And I'm sure Dybala is going to be very well paid. But what I mean is, at the moment, we probably shouldn't be doing that. At least in this way, we can get Lukaku out, that takes the money off the books, get Dybala in, puts the money on the books, but it gives us a player that's improving the starting 11, hopefully, anyway. You know what I mean? Hopefully, it could not work out.
I mean, for me, it quite simply comes. Sometimes it just comes down to does Lukaku want to leave? If he does, and you're going to get Dybala, and both clubs are happy with the deal, then it's got to be done, isn't it? Because the players are happy, the clubs are happy. it's a natural progression. No one's going to look at that thinking, "Oh, what have you done? You've just literally sold our bestest player." I don't think that's the case at the moment at United. I don't think losing Lukaku is going to hurt you any more than
any more than flushing the toilet.
I think that's a little bit harsh. That's a little bit harsh. What I did read earlier. I mean, this you've got to be careful what you read, but I got this from an established source. Maguire is kind of hot and cold at the moment. I know that has been your manager's number one target. You could have another rod in the fire, iron in the oven, whatever the saying is, with none other than Barcelona's Umtiti. Have you heard this, or are you hearing it from me?
No, I heard it. I read it on Sky Sports earlier, but that is just sheer speculation at this stage. There's not any more movement on it, but I guess you've got to talk about it because there's only 8 days left of the transfer window. So he would be a player that is of interest. He's definitely a good player, definitely a beast. But there's a few players that are being mentioned for United at centre back. Maguire obviously was the main man. He excites me more. I think maybe Umtiti's older. He's obviously more experienced, but Maguire's he's homegrown. He's English. He's a leader. He's got Premier League experience. That does count for something. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean he's a better player, but I think he would be a good.
Tell that to Smalling and Jones.
Very true, but the only difference is Maguire's actually got good Premier League experience. Do you know what I mean? Like actually performed
good Premier League experience. What, just because he's played for Leicester, who haven't really actually done anything. I mean, he didn't win the Premier League with them, did he?
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Did he?
Probably. I don't know. Actually, maybe
he did. I don't think he did. I don't think he did. He might have been. He might have been at Leicester at the time. I'd have to check on that, but I don't think he was.
But what I mean is performances, because for a couple of years he's obviously performed well for Leicester and for England too. There's a reason why.
Of course,
he's being selected in the England squad, and Smalling and Jones are not.
Really, the question is he really 100 times better than Jones and Smalling? That is the question, because Jones and Smalling have been in and amongst the England team. Okay, Maguire was kind of selected by Southgate. He was more of a first team player in that when we got to the semi-finals in Russia last year. But is he really that much better? That is the question you have to ask yourself. Obviously, Solskjaer thinks so.
Yeah, I mean, we shall see. You're right, though. Maguire joined in 2017, so he's only been there for a few years. So when did Leicester win the league? Like 2016, was it?
Was it 15-16 season? 16-17 season? Someone would have to correct me. Last season was City. Season before was Chelsea. Season before was, I believe, Leicester. So
fair play, yeah.
The
thing is with Maguire, it's like he's way too much money. He's not worth what we're talking about paying for him. That's just the fact of the matter. Is maybe if we could get a better player elsewhere or another player elsewhere for not such a ridiculous amount, then that would be a better option at this moment, because Leicester don't want to sell him. It's pretty clear. Like you say, it's hot and cold whether he's coming. I think he is going to come. I do. But I think it's more out of necessity than anything else. I just think we've left it so late. There's not that many other options. I know you would be linked with Umtiti, and we've even been linked with Alderweireld this window quite a lot. Ruben Dias and all sorts of people that we have been linked to, but none of them are really serious, apart from the Harry Maguire situation. Just there's little clues like not turning up for training and things like that, which makes me think that we are in serious talks with Leicester City for his signing. I'd like to see him come in, mate. I would. I mean, like I say, he's just got that big tombstone for a noggin. Just stick him there and be like one of those Easter Island heads, mate. Just be like one of those Easter Island freaking heads. Just stick him there. Do you know what I mean? On a skateboard.
Sure. Well, that's it. Well, it's you've made a couple of signings here and there, haven't you? You've got that young player from Crystal Palace. Wan-Bissaka, is it? What's his name?
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I got it right. Nice. Yeah, I mean, you've made a, but that, I mean, is that really a big statement? You haven't spent more than Tottenham, have you?
Well, I think maybe combined. I mean, how many players have you signed? Because you've obviously got
Well, the only big signing that we've made is
$60
Dybala for 60-something million, but we sold Trippier for a decent amount. So
yeah, I mean, net spend, it's not even close. We've spent a lot more than you just because we haven't got rid of anybody unless we get rid of Lukaku. But I mean, we haven't got rid of anyone. So net spend, you've spent a lot less. United have spent 70 million, I think. We paid 20 million for Daniel James and 50 million for Wan-Bissaka. So it's a lot of money. What I would say is in pre-season, which is only pre-season, you can't really go on it. You know, Spurs beat Real Madrid in pre-season. Do you know what I mean? And to be
yes,
fair,
we did beat Real Madrid the other day. That is mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad. Apparently, Gareth Bale was not fit for the game. He's been on and off with China. At one point, everybody was dead set. He's going for literally £1 million a week. Yeah, 1 million a week. I can't remember which club in the Chinese Super League.
It was the HEN Feng one, whatever that is.
Well, there we go. That's the sort of money they were talking. Apparently, it fell through. I don't know. Should we talk Gareth Bale for a couple of minutes? It's like,
well, yeah. I mean, the thing is with Gareth Bale, yeah, he was a great player for Spurs, wasn't he? Yeah, £1 million a week. Now, mate, that's fallen through anyway. Obviously, there was talk about it.
It's fallen through, but
yeah,
he was a hero for me with Tottenham, of course.
Would you have him back at Spurs?
Oh, well, I would have done, but I'm starting to think that he doesn't. It's difficult for me or you or anybody that listens to our show, for that matter, to really speculate on how you would feel if you were in that position. You've made a lot of money. You're going to be fine for life. Does it matter more to you that you actually make more of a historical mark on your legacy by winning more trophies and being at top clubs, or would you rather just make shitloads more money? And, you know, I hate anybody that says, what a selfish, greedy bastard. They're entitled to their opinion, but it's difficult to say unless you were that person. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's fair, mate. I mean, I think if you're getting paid 400k a week or whatever, there's no real reason to go over to China and get paid $1 million a week. I know it's a lot more money, but you're talking about a complete lifestyle change here. I don't mean anything like, you know, because obviously you fucked off to China, didn't you?
Well, I've done it. I've done it for money, mate. I fucked off for money, mate. So how can I judge? How can I judge? You
can't judge, mate.
Okay, it's easy for us to sit back and say, yeah, if I was making 400,000 pounds a week, why would I want £1 million a week? I'm already minted. I want to be winning trophies. I want to be in the limelight. But you know what? Bale might think, actually, fuck it. I'm going to make more than twice what I'm making a week in China. Not really going to get much media coverage back in the West anymore. And I'm going to be absolutely fucking minted. You know, and I've already made a name for myself. Do I really need to put myself through the pressures of continuing to try to be some kind of legend, which he never has really been? That's
it's crazy to say that.
A true fan would say, well, why don't you push yourself to be a Ronaldo or a Messi? Because you never will be. If you fuck off to China, you will never be a Ronaldo or Messi. But maybe he realizes he's never going to be one of those players. Maybe he knows his heart's not in it. Maybe he knows he's just not quite good enough to be one of them players. And he's decided, well, I might as well take the fucking fat paycheck.
I totally disagree with you there, mate. Gareth Bale is already a legend, really. You know, but he won't be remembered in the history, but maybe in the Welsh history books. But he won't be remembered. He won 4 Champions Leagues. Be remembered. No, trust me, mate. He will not be remembered in terms of. He won't be another Pele. For example, if he was to go to China now, he won't be another Pele or a Ronaldo or a Messi or a Maradona or a George Best or one of these. You know, you could pick any massive name. It's quite funny you mentioned those guys, though, mate, because half of them actually fucked off all over the world and played all over the place. Like George Best ended up playing for freaking AFC Bournemouth when they were shy. He played in the MLS or the NASL when it was then. If you stay in the I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, who went to the MLS? Who did you say went to the MLS? George Best played for, I think it was the Seattle Sounders, right, back in the day. I could be wrong there. No, it was the San Jose Earthquakes, right? Played for the How old is he when he went there? He was still, he still could have played at a top level, I'm sure. Because he left United when he was
Yeah,
26,
but it's
27.
different. It's different. That was back in the day. You know, he was a drinker.
Okay, well, who was one of the other people
different.
you mentioned?
It was a different footballing world then. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned George Best's name. Maybe I shouldn't have brought that name into.
There was a couple of other names you mentioned.
Right now.
The same thing happened. You said Maradona. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I'll say. Let me say Pele, Ronaldo, Messi. Okay, I'd say those are my 3 top footballers of all time.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I respect that, mate. I respect that.
Okay.
I mean, back to
Bale will never be one of those if he was to go to China right now. But I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming him for 1 second. I think he knows. I think he knows deep down that he is not going to ever be able to surpass those guys or even emulate those guys. He knows. He knows he's Bale's past it, mate. Bale's past it, mate.
Lineker, a Spurs legend, would you say? England legend?
Not a legend. Spurs icon. He's not an England. He's Welsh, isn't he? It's nothing to do with England. Welsh icon.
Yeah, I know. I'm
icon,
just saying, like,
he's
a Spurs icon. Like, if because he went and played in Japan or whatnot for some, Anyway, just for money. But the point I'm trying to say, I agree with you, mate. Like, really, you can't judge these people. They want to go and earn money somewhere else. But from a legacy standpoint, Gareth Bale's already won 4 Champions Leagues. He's already won domestic trophies. He's done a lot for Spurs, but obviously the successful period.
He was in and out of the team with the Champions Leagues. He is. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not trying to stand here and say he scored in the Champions League final. All I'm saying is he is not at that top tier. And you could I'm standing from his point of view. You could understand from his point of view. He's done well. He's done what he's done, like you've said. And now, a week ago, or a couple of weeks ago, he had that opportunity to make £1 million a week in China. Can you blame him? I'm not dissing him. I'm not saying what a prick. What I'm saying, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes.
Yeah, well, the fact is he didn't go for whatever reason. I don't know why it fell down. Maybe it was just too much of a lifestyle choice. He's got a lot of choices and options. That's the thing. He's never gonna really emulate or replicate the success that he's had at Madrid. 4 Champions League in 6 years, something like that. Unbelievable, really. So it's not like he can really go to another. He's achieved everything he wants to achieve, I'm sure. The one thing
Zidane doesn't like him. Why doesn't Zidane like him?
I don't know, but I think the one thing about Gareth Bale you have to say is that for Wales, he's always been great. Did he get Wales to the semi-finals of the European Championships? Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's pretty insane. That's much more than Ryan Giggs ever did, for instance, who's the most decorated player in the Premier League history and one of the biggest United legends. So, from a national point of view, I'm sure he is a national hero and a legend of Wales. To be fair, you're right. He's not in the top level. He's not a Ronaldo. He's not a Messi. He is that second tier. After Ronaldo left, Real Madrid have just imploded. If he was that good, surely he'd have been able to step up and take that mantle and be that player. But he hasn't.
Well, Zidane says it all to me, Bottom line, Zidane has won 3 Champions Leagues in a row with Real Madrid. He knows that team inside out. Anyone that was there when he was winning them Champions Leagues, that's still there now, he knows those players. And if he doesn't want Gareth Bale there, there's a reason why. Surely. You can't.
I'll tell you the reason.
You can speculate. I can speculate. Any cunt out there can speculate. But the person that really knows what's going the fuck on is Zidane. Of course it is. Our head-butting friend.
I probably wouldn't want Gareth Bale in my side these days either. He's a tit, isn't he? The way he acts, the things he says in the press. Did you see there was talk about him, what about a move away from Real Madrid, or if they don't play you next season or something, will you have to move? And he said, well, no, I'll just play golf and get paid $500,000 a week. Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of attitude this prick's got. And of course, I don't know if you saw the drubbing they got the other day. You think they got battered 7-1, Real Madrid. And Gareth Bale's on the... in the dugout, and because he's just laughing his head off, mate. What's that all about? If your team's getting battered 7-1, you don't freaking laugh your head off, do you? Crikey.
Well, but there's bad blood. There's obviously bad blood between him and Zidane.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is Zidane. Let's talk about Zidane for a second. I think we covered Bale there, but if you were Zinedine, you'd won 3 Champions Leagues in a row with Real Madrid, and then the season after you leave, they're not doing so great. Obviously, you're invited back. They're offering you shitloads of money. Well, I guess, yeah, you'd say yes. But, you know, I like to look at it. I'd like to think if I was Zidane, I wouldn't want to go back to Madrid. I mean, you know, you win 3 Champions Leagues in a row, you know, plus all the domestic trophies you won. I think you just leave it at that. Leave it at that. And if you're going to go back into management, do something different. You know, I feel like you've already done everything you can. You know.
But I guess he loves the club. I mean, I agree with you to an extent. Like Pep Guardiola loved Barcelona, but he didn't want to go back there. He wanted to change it. It was too stressful for him to deal with that pressure week in, week out, I guess, because he has that affinity and love for the club like no other. So the pressure's different. I guess that's the same with Zidane at Real Madrid, but it must be difficult if you're a good manager and a great player, of course, but a good manager who's led your team to 3 Champions Leagues. You leave to have a break or go and do something else or whatever, and within 1 year, they're in an absolutely shithouse position compared to what they were before. Kind of like Sir Alex Ferguson when he left and with Manchester United, how it just all went wrong for us. But the only difference is Fergie was completely retired at that point. There was no realistic probability of him coming back. But Zidane, being the age he is and everything, he probably thinks, you know what, just a year ago, I had those twats winning Champions League. Yeah, we had Ronaldo there, fair enough. But, you know, I can go back in there and sort Real Madrid out, the club that I love and club that I want to see succeed. So I get it from his point of view from both scenarios. Plus, it's probably one of the most highest paid jobs that he could have got. I mean, I'm not saying that's a motivating factor at all for Zidane, because I'm sure he's minted as you like. But still, and also, it's somewhere familiar, somewhere he can go in. He can challenge for things now if he can do it. And this is a big test for Zidane, more of a test than when he took over the first time, I'd say, because he had Ronaldo and he had a bit more harmony and things like that. Whereas now, you can see by the performances pre-season, they're having a mare. Just that game against Spurs alone, did you see Marcelo's mistake to allow Harry Kane in? I mean, that is just uncharacteristic. How's that happening? I know it's just a one mistake, but things like that, there's uncertainty, there's negativity in there. It's a shit show at the moment, Real Madrid. So he's got his work cut out for him, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, I'd like to think I wouldn't go back, but he knows what he's doing. He's probably taken on a bigger challenge than anyone would. That's probably why he's done it. He thinks, well, fuck it. Actually, I can go back and I can show everybody up and just do it again. And if he does, fair play to him. But I think he'd. I think really what as a manager, what you want to do is do better than Mourinho. So you want to go to all the major leagues in the world and win the titles and win the Champions Leagues with those teams from them different nations, which Mourinho has basically done. But
Pep Guardiola's trying to do that, isn't he? Really,
that is the way to be if you interested in being the best manager ever. That's what you have to do, surely. Which is why, in a way, as a player, Messi, despite how fantastic he is, he's just like an Alan Shearer, in a way.
What does that mean?
Like in the way that he's kind of just stayed in the same country, playing his game week in, week out, and become great.
That's not a good comparison because Shearer played for multiple teams. Okay, he stayed in the same league, but it's not fair.
He stayed in the Premier League, didn't he? He stayed in England.
He did, yeah, but I think it'd be more impressive.
Whereas Ronaldo has been around. It's been around. Yeah, in more ways than one, but he's been around. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So it is quite an impressive task if you go in and you win, like Jose Mourinho won the Portuguese domestic league, won the English Premier League, won the Spanish league, won the Italian league, won the Champions League with multiple teams. You know, so that is very, very impressive. But at the same time, I'm going to disagree with a little bit here, Hen, because I think, to me, the greatest manager of all time is Sir Alex Ferguson, who managed Aberdeen and Manchester United, and he was very successful with both. But obviously, the longevity and everything happened at United for nearly 3 decades. So you're talking about sustained success, rebuilding teams, consistency. You know, that as a manager to be able to bring through all these amazing teams.
Sure.
Whether it's the Steve Bruce and the Pallister team, and then getting the Cantonars and the Giggs.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you, but nobody else has done it like Fergie has. Right? You tell me another manager out there that has done what Sir Alex Ferguson did at Manchester United with a team that we know about.
Bob
in the same way.
Bob Paisley.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah. Who's that other? Who's
But I'm
the other
talking
Liverpool?
more recent times. Don't go back through the fucking history book. I'm talking about recent times. Who's done that?
Yeah, no, there's nobody that springs to my mind. I mean, it is. I think probably Eddie Howe and Pochettino are amongst the longest serving managers in the Premier League now. Would you say?
Well, to a certain extent, but I mean,
I would imagine
Poch has
Eddie
been
Howe
around.
and
Eddie Howe's
Pochettino.
been around.
Yeah, like
Alex Ferguson, his legacy at Manchester United is you cannot compare any name with Sir Alex Ferguson at all. So of course, Fergie, absolutely.
So what we're saying is
one of
Fergie
the
is the
best
Messi.
managers ever. Of course,
Fergie's the Lionel Messi of managers.
Fergie is the best man. Yeah, he is the Messi of managers.
And Pep Guardiola.
Mourinho is, I guess, Mourinho or Guardiola is the Ronaldo of managers. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Fair one. That's quite an interesting point you made there, mate. I mean, I think Pep Guardiola probably is. What do you think? Do you think he's better than Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola? I think you have to the style of football, the way they dominate teams. It's better than the way Jose goes about it. So to me, he is a better manager. Sir Alex Ferguson's always going to be the best. Ronaldo to me is the better player out of Messi and himself. Only just simply because I just think he's a more all-round complete player, good with his head, physically and all that sort of thing, speed. If you look throughout his career, and he's done the acid test, mate. He's done it in England and he's done it in Spain, and now he's doing it in Italy, and he will continue.
For me, that is the reason why I rate Ronaldo over Messi. That is the reason.
Yeah, there's another reason as well. Like for
number one reason,
nationally, internationally, he's a much better player for Portugal. If you look at how Messi does with Argentina, always a disappointment. He's never won a major tournament with Argentina. That is shocking. Argentina are a better team than Portugal have been over the last 10 years while Ronaldo's been there, really. But better players, lots of really good players in there. Messi's buckled. Messi's melted. Whereas Ronaldo, you talk about somebody who led Portugal to win the European Championships.
I know, it's crazy. When you say it like that, then it's undeniable, isn't it? What a player. What a special player. He's underrated. The trouble with Ronaldo is
Ronaldo's underrated.
He's almost too popular that he's almost become underrated. In a way. That's true, mate. It's true. He's just, people just think, oh, look at that good-looking cunt. He's just on the front of every fucking drinks bottle, every TV advert, etc., etc. But actually, behind all that, look at his actual achievements. You just read his achievements, and you think, yeah, I mean, nobody else has really done that. Messi hasn't got anywhere near what Ronaldo's achieved in terms of what he's done across several nations, countries.
Yeah, I mean that's the only real distinguishing factor between them is just the fact one of them has done it in different leagues and the other one hasn't. But is that really fair?
But you were highlighting the international thing. He led Portugal to a European victory there. You can't bat an eyelid at that.
No, I mean, yeah, Messi's just not done it for Argentina. He's not actually won it. I mean, they got to the World Cup final, didn't they, in 2014? So but they lost to Germany. So yeah, I mean, he's so close yet so far for him internationally. I don't think he's as complete a player. I think if you took Lionel Messi and you put them in Scunthorpe United, he's going to struggle, mate, because he doesn't have Xavi, Iniesta, Suarez, all these people around. If you put Ronaldo in there, they can look like a bunch of Scunthorpe mugs, mate, because he's just going to physically dominate them with his, and he can score from anywhere, that sort of thing. That's all I'm saying. Messi was still good,
if that Scunthorpe game was lucky enough to be televised, you would see Ronaldo getting frustrated, shouting at the rest of the team, telling them, "What the fuck are you doing, you mugs?" Whereas you wouldn't necessarily see that from Messi. That's so
true. Yeah, the character is different. Ronaldo's a pure leader. Even when you think the team's down and out, he's still trying. He's still demanding more from his teammates. So he does lead the team really well. Whereas Messi, you see when his teams don't play well, like in the Barcelona versus Liverpool game in the Champions League semis, where Liverpool battered them 4-0 at home. You just saw his head goes. He's like, oh, I can't be asked today playing with these bunch of mugs. Maybe they're not on my level, but That's the problem. He doesn't. Whereas Ronaldo makes his teammates play to the occasion. He demands more from them. So I think he's a much better player, 100%. Good call, Henry. I like it. Let's do a little shout out to some people who are tuning in because we've not spoken to anybody in the comment section.
Well,
yet.
I was just going to say. I mean, I was just going to say, is anybody even listening to us, or is this just a little like a chat between me and you? You know, the pig
we've
could
got
be
a bunch
lying
of comments
to me.
coming
We
through.
might not even be doing the Pig and the Hen show. It could just be an excuse for us to have a chat because I never talk to him. If we're not doing the show, you know what I'm saying?
What beers are you on out there, Hen? That's what I want to know. What are you drinking?
Ching
The
Taos,
Bing Taos. The Bing Taos.
The Ching Taos, mate.
Ching Taos. And is that the same as a Bing Tao?
I don't know what a Bing Tao is.
I don't know. We've just got these
What's
Chinese
that?
beers in England. We've got Chinese beers in England called Bing Taos, I think. I don't know, mate.
I don't
Anyway.
know what a Bing Tao is, mate. What I'm saying is basically, for anyone that's listening out there, I don't really speak to the Flying Pig unless it's a show, So what I was thinking is he might not even put this live. We might not even be doing the Pig of the Head show. He might just be using this as an excuse to talk to me. Is that true, Mr. Pig?
Mate, it is. The only reason I set up this YouTube channel and everything was just to manufacture a situation where you had to talk to me every week. That's the only reason. It's part of the long con, mate. I've been working on it for 6 years, baby. This shit's chess, it ain't checkers.
People out there are wondering why I left the UK.
Crikey, good one.
Sorry, I need to apologise to the Alex Rudd out there. Alex, you sent me a Twitter message, and I haven't replied. Do you know what? I don't know how to reply. That's the thing. I am shit on Twitter. Literally, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I saw a message come up, like it was a personal message to me, I believe, and I can't even find it. I don't even know how to find Alex on there and even send him something. That is how retarded I am. Can I say that? I can't say that.
You probably can't say that, mate. No,
that's how dumb I am. Well, anyway. It pisses me off. I am anti this fucking left-wing propaganda of not being able to say what you want. Freedom of speech. What is wrong with saying retarded? Why can't you say retarded? I'm not saying that in a way that's derogatory to anyone that has special needs. I'm saying that in the way that I am taking the piss out of myself. I should be entitled to say that shit.
Fair enough, mate. I'll leave that one well alone, sunshine. Oh dear. Anyway, what were you talking about a second ago before that? I want us to say something.
I was talking about Twitter and my
that's it. Like how some people are meant to be, born to be driven, and some people are born to drive. But you're basically meant to be tweeted at, and not meant to fucking tweet. I think, mate. Seeing as you don't know how it works, it's quite. I can understand it. It's like when you go on Twitter's homepage and you look at your notifications and you see a tweet. And there's a little arrow and it says reply. I know that must be like doing fucking quantum physics to some people, mate. So I do understand where you're coming from, pal. So I'm just saying.
You can take the piss all you want, right? But to be honest, I've never been into social media. I'm sure you can listen to Pig and the Hen shows back in the day where I would have said the same. I am not a social media person. I'm a real life person. I don't have any problem with getting involved in stuff that's online and etc. etc. But I think there is a danger of getting too involved in your phone and not knowing what's going on in the real world anymore. And then you lose a reality of the real world. And if you have children, you lose a grip, you lose a reality of teaching your children what the real world's about. So I am very much that sort of person. What disgusts me about Twitter now, and this is a big non-football related issue that I'm going to start speaking about. But the fact is that Twitter are now literally getting rid of people that say things that Twitter doesn't agree with. And I'm not saying that there's people that shouldn't be got rid of. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't say certain things. That's for sure. But what is alarming is that it's happening a lot to people where a lot of people might say, well, maybe you shouldn't have got rid of that person. And it's not just Twitter, it is social media in general. Freedom of speech is something that I firmly believe in. Obviously, you shouldn't go out and and actually assault people verbally. But in terms of just expressing an opinion, there is now people are now. I believe that the biggest social media platforms are now crossing the line between actually getting rid of people that shouldn't be saying what they're saying and actually deciding what can be said and what can't.
Oh, the world's gone mad, mate. It's way too PC, mate. I can't believe they're like deplatforming people just for having a different view to what they do. You know, I mean, I don't really, you know, they might probably deplatform me for talking about it. But the fact is, you know, the freedom of speech is a thing. People should be able to say what they want. You can either agree with it, you can either not agree with it. Of course, nobody wants hate, nobody wants racism, nobody wants things like that. That stuff just, you know, it's not right. But at the same time, like you can't block somebody's views. People have these views in the world. That's what they are. They should be able to voice those views. You choose to listen to it. You can choose to not. You can choose to agree with it. You can choose to disagree with it. You can choose to protest it, whatever. But the fact of the matter is everybody should be able to have freedom of speech. Oh, yeah, that's it. Richard Nixon, eat your heart out.
No, very, very much so. Very much so. I mean, the biggest problem with actually silencing people is, do you know what happens when you silence someone? Do you know what happens?
Yeah, you
Everybody
vibrate.
thinks, everybody thinks, oh, fucking hell, what was that person saying? Shit, it must have been a bit obscene. What did that person say? What did that person do? And all you do is you actually lead more people to try to find out what that person was talking about. Same things happened to me. I'm not going to even mention the name or names of people that I've been interested in recently. And I'm not interested in these people because I fundamentally agree with what they say or et cetera, et cetera. But the reason I have been looking into these people is purely for the fact that they have been banned off social media. And I'm sure there must be a lot of people like that, exactly thinking the same as me there.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I mean, I don't really know enough about these people's past and things that they've done, but there's certainly a couple of people. Anyway, let's get back on track here, mate. I think it's an interesting topic, but I want to just read this super chat out from Alex Rincon because he's taken the time to send it in. He comments and says, Sky Italy this morning is reporting United have abandoned signing Maguire and now want Umtiti. If we signed Umtiti, 4 of our 6 centre-backs would be injury-prone. Has to be Maguire. Pay up the cash, Glazers. Thank you very much for that super chat there, Alex Rincon. You make a valid point, mate. I mean, if Sky Italy are reporting the Maguire, we've abandoned that. I mean, the only reason I could think of is that Leicester City are holding out for that little bit more money. They want £90 million, say. I'm with you, Alex. I think Umtiti's a good player. He is. But I think Maguire would be a better fit. He's got more longevity to offer the club at United. He's got leadership abilities. You know, he speaks the language. All these things that would make it, you know, slightly more favourable than Umtiti, apart from the money. Glazers, sort your freaking lights out. We do need to get him in there. I mean, I would hate to pay £90 million for Maguire. I would. But do you know what I'd hate more? Having Phil bloody No Bones Jones or Chris Smalldong starting there at the start of the season. Do you know what I mean? That would piss me off more than spending £90 million imaginary money that is the Glazers' money anyway. Do you know what I mean? So all these fans saying, oh, no, we don't want to spend the money. We do need him. We do need him. So I would like to get him. I think we should pay the money and, you know, Glazers sort it out 100%. Thank you very much for your super chat there, Alex Rincon. Much appreciated. I'm going to read a few more questions and comments out in this little period, and then we get deep back into a little bit more chat. Let's have a look. So there's a message here from Reax who says, why is this guy in the shed? It did look like you were sort of in the shed, mate, doing a bit of potting at the moment. You got an umbrella on the go now.
Oh, sorry. Am I back in view now?
I can see you.
Does the video not cut from you to me, depending on who's talking?
Correct, but I can still see you in a little box in the corner, yeah.
No, but how does our friend mentioned in the shed, though? Let's say his name's Fred, for rhyming's sake.
No, this is an old comment. This is back when you were in the shed, mate, I think. Anyway, sorry, I've tripped you out there, haven't I?
I was going to say, I was thinking, no, I'm saying, right, I have got an umbrella on the go. It is raining. I could be bothered to stay where I was. You know, this is my living area. I've actually found an interesting place here. Look, this is shall I just show you? Can you see? It's like an elevator or a lift, should we say, in my country, which, if it was working, takes you down to the place where you'd park your car. But I think it's got a little cone here, probably indicating it might be out of order. I don't know. But I've just stood here for now.
Fair play, mate. Good lighting. I like it. Looks very nice. Comment here from Gaz Newton, who says, yes, Pig and the Hen legends. Come to Manchester, Pablo. Thank you very much for your comment, Gaz. Yeah, I hope it does happen. Get rid of Lukaku, get Dybala in one fell swoop. It makes absolute sense. Super chat here from Gungshi. Thank you very much for getting involved and stopping by on the live stream, Gungshi. He says, hey, Pig and the Hen, waiting for my girlfriend to go so I can watch the show with no bloody distractions. That's all.
What you need to do, Gungshi, is you just need to get out. Like, that's what I do, mate. You know what I mean? I just get out and get involved in the show, and then there are no distractions because I'm doing the show. So even if you're not actually live on the show speaking like the Pig and I am right now, you just pretend that you are. You just walk around and you tell the girlfriend, yeah, I'm doing the show. That's what I'd say.
I'd say the same as well, Gungshi. I'd say take no mess. Do you know what I mean? Just say, look, love, do one, all right? It's time for the Pig and the Hen. I need to concentrate. You get on with what you want. Just don't make any noise. And while you're at it, stick the kettle on.
That's it. Do you know how difficult it is to send a super chat when you've got your missus in your ear? You know what I mean? I've got busy, important things to do.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Gungshi, and thanks to everybody who does send super chats in. You're a bunch of legends. Regular comment here from Matt Lewis, who says Lukaku is a top striker and would have benefited massively from better service. Shame our midfielder has been so gash-tastic. Dybala fits. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think he does fit United style better than Lukaku. Lukaku could have been good for us if we were prepared to play the way that benefits Lukaku. I don't think we should do that. I think it's clear from his past that he's a good player. I think he'll continue to be a really good player, a really good goal scorer for Belgium. I think he'll go over to Serie A, and if he can challenge the already talented forwards that they've got there, then he'll probably do well in that league too, because he is a good player, but just not the right fit for United. Said it before, say it again. Sometimes you just sign players that they just do not put the club for whatever reason that they. I think that's the case with him. Nash Cheek comments and says, I've been saying Maguire is just another Smalling, mediocre. Oh, bold move. What do you think about that one, then? Do you think Maguire's another Smalling?
This taps into the comment that I made earlier, and I think I spoke briefly on this in terms of the fact that Smalling and Phil Jones have always been there or thereabouts within the England setup. Southgate has been a fan or not a fan, however you look at it. Their involvement has been questionable. Maguire was preferred, but is he really so much better when you're talking about that sort of money? To be honest, I'd like to ask Southgate. I'd love to ask Southgate. I'd say, look, mate, you've worked with these players. Is Maguire the real deal? Is he head and shoulders above these players that United have already got? Because he'd be in a good position to answer that question.
Yeah, he would. I think he would say, yeah, Maguire's a lot better. He's a lot better leader. He's a lot better defender. He's a lot better ball player. That's what I think, because that's my personal opinion. I mean, I haven't seen as much as Harry Maguire as, of course, I have done Phil Jones or Smalling, say, because I watch them week in, week out when they're playing. Maguire I see here and there, match of the day, or when England are playing and things like that. But he does look really good. And he's certainly a player that impresses me a lot more on the ball. It impresses me a lot more commitment-wise and leadership-wise than anything we've got at the moment at the back. So, yeah, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. But I do think there's a big risk that our board, being the pansies that they are and not prepared to spend money and just want to leech money out of the club, will not spend the money to get Maguire in, and we'll probably get a cut-price player, maybe somebody like Umtiti who could be injury-prone, maybe somebody, who's none of the players that we've been talking about as a last-minute panic buy. That's on the books as well.
Umtiti's a top player. If you got him, I'd be happy with Umtiti. He's a great player. Is he not a World Cup winner?
He is, yeah. He's a player, mate, yeah. How old is he?
There's nothing wrong with Umtiti, mate. He's not that old, mate.
Isn't he? Because I do think he's pretty old, isn't he? I don't know. I could be wrong. But
well, I don't think he's old. I mean, it might be. I don't think he's any older than me or you, mate.
He's actually a lot younger than I thought. He's 25, mate. So he's younger than Harry
There we
Maguire.
go, mate. So
He just
what the
looks
fuck
old
are
as
you
fuck.
talking about?
He
He's
just
in
looks old as
his absolute prime. Prick.
How old is Diego Costa? Because he looks he's about fucking 40 as well. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, can you believe Samuel Umtiti? When I look at Umtiti, big muscly Umtiti, and I think, fucking hell, he's 20. He's 6 years younger than me. That makes me want to kill
I thought he was a young player. Yeah, so I don't know what you're on about.
All right, I got him mixed up there. I thought he was older
would
than
be
that.
a fantastic signing. I mean, in some ways, he's a better player than Maguire. Not even being funny, in terms of his caliber, what he's actually achieved as experience, etc., etc. I mean, I
agree.
I'd rather Umtiti at Spurs, mate, in a way.
Barcelona or and at France World Cup winner, that sort of stuff. Yeah, fair enough. But I like it when people say that. They're just basing it on reputation. How many times have you seen Umtiti actually play? Because really, I've seen him play a couple of times. Right.
I've seen him play in international tournaments, exactly.
So for France, we're a dominant team. Yeah, that's what we're basing it on. So I know Barcelona
he's played well for France when he's played for France, and he's been part of top teams that have won titles, etc., etc. So he's obviously not bad, is he?
I'll tell you what, though, if Leicester do want the 90 million, and I don't know how much we're being talked about for the potential signing of Umtiti, but there comes a point where it's just not good value to get Maguire. I want Maguire. He's the right fit. He's who we need because of the reasons I mentioned. Sure, Umtiti's good for Barcelona in La Liga and for France, but Maguire, he's proven in the Premier League, so he'd be able to adapt quicker, I'm sure. Not to say Umtiti couldn't. Football is football. He's a defender at the end of the day. He's going to come in and do a job. Look at how Vidic took to the Premier League like a duck to water, that sort of thing. It does happen. So if Umtiti's less money than Harry Maguire, then there comes a point, where...
Well, this brings me on to a point.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Sorry, Pig. This brings me on to a point that I wanted to discuss. The fact that Pochettino has actually come out today, I believe, saying that he's not in charge of the transfers. His job title should actually change to coach rather than manager. I mean, he said this. He has said this.
Yeah.
And obviously, journalists are reading between the lines. That doesn't sound like Poch is too happy with the situation at Tottenham in terms of his control over signings. He's basically saying he has none. Okay. So now with let's just have a discussion about that. Let's look at Leicester. Does Brendan Rodgers have the say so in terms of what's going on with his players? I know they've just let Okazaki go.
Absolutely. I'd imagine not Brendan Rodgers. I think that sort of style of management went out the window when Alex Ferguson left. Do you know what I mean? So now it makes sense. You tell your director of football, if you like, or in our case, our chief executives, who you want, who you think will improve the side, and then they're supposed to go out there and try and sign them. But what you're telling me is that Spurs at the moment is they don't even have that. So you've got a situation where Spurs are just buying like Ndombele, for instance, based on what Daniel Levy or the board or whoever thinks will benefit it, or is that based off of what Pochettino actually wants? Or you said he's got no input?
All I'm going off is what Poch has said in a press conference or an interview in the last 48 hours, as far as I believe. He has stated the fact that maybe his job title should change to coach because he has no say in what's going on with the transfers. And obviously, people have looked at what Poch has said, and he said this after we've beaten Real Madrid in a friendly 1-0. I know it's just a friendly, doesn't mean shit, but you would have thought managers should be happy enough. And he's come out with this type of statement. It does, it worries me. I don't like to hear stuff like that. I don't want to hear Pochettino not happy with his position. Kind of reminds me of me and my job out here in China, mate. I'm not going to go into what I do, but sometimes I'm sure any of our listeners can relate to this, where you feel like you're doing a good job, and you're doing more than a good job. You're probably certainly earning your silver or whatever you want to say, but for whatever reason, whoever is your seniority, your management, don't really recognise it. They're still calling the shots, and they, for whatever reason, they still think that, fuck you, you're replaceable, kind of thing. and it's not a nice feeling. And that's probably the feeling for Poch at the moment. That's the feeling I get anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's like you used to work for freaking Arkwright's grocery store, and then fucking Walmart come in, and now you got to deal with a whole bunch of twats just to achieve what you want to achieve before, when you were just, you know, on a smaller scale. That's how football's gone for everybody. Look at, you know, Newcastle had just got Steve Bruce as their manager, as head coach. He's not the manager because he's not managing who's coming in and out of the club. That's that fact like Ashley's job, isn't it? So, you know, that's obviously not up to Steve Bruce. He just has to do what he does. He might say, oh, yeah, I fancy this player. He'd be good for us. But he's got no actual control over what happens. If Mike Ashley wants to sell a player out from underneath him, he's just going to have to accept that. So that's how it is in modern football for most.
Well, for me, that is completely wrong. It's completely wrong. I mean, whoever owns the club, yes, obviously you've got a financial interest. It is up to you in terms of what's going on with the money in, money out. But if you employ a manager, you should say, look, this is the money that you've got to spend. This is the wages that the players are on. You need to work it out. Do you want me to employ someone else, like a footballing director, to help you? Or are you confident to do all this by yourself? But bottom line, this is the money I'm willing to give you for this season. And these are the targets that I'm setting out. And if, you know, I'd like to think if I was rich enough that I owned a football club, that is how I'd manage my football club, because I think any manager would be more than happy to take on that type of commitment, that type of job where he feels like he is in full control. He knows exactly what he's stepping into when he takes the job on. And it's as simple as that. And that's how I feel it should be. End of the day, what do I know? I'm just a fucking hen on some fucking, you know, piddly pig in the hen show. But that's how I see things.
It should be the way, mate. Like United's situation, you're basically describing us in a way, because United, we've got a chief executive, Ed Woodward, who should delegate these things, delegate player recruitment to a director of football. Director of football should be there to oversee ins and outs of the football club. Build up relationships with clubs, ex-players, coaches, all that sort of stuff. It should be somebody within the footballing world, I think, anyway, somebody who can bring the necessary players in and also get rid of players. Because if you look at what United have done over the last few years, the deals out have been pretty awful for United. We've not done well in deals out, and we've not done any in this transfer window. So that's a big problem. That's somebody that's a highlighting reason to get a director of football in there. Ed Woodward's been good commercially for United. Commercial deals, the Glazers probably love him, which is probably why they don't want somebody else in there, another cook spoiling the broth, so to speak, by having a director of football. But it would benefit Ole Gunnar, because it seems like Edward was not man enough for the job. Ole Gunnar, I'm sure, would have made them aware who he wants to go out there and try and strengthen with in this window. And if you look at what we've done so far, we've been very slow about getting it done. We've got a couple of good young lads in there, but we haven't actually made any true signings. There's talk of Harry Maguire. You know, it's been going on for ages now. I mean, it's ridiculous, for over a year. Just get the bloody deal done. Why is that? Why have we not been getting it done? Because maybe we don't have somebody in there who's got the necessary relationships, who's not a complete smarmy bastard like Ed Woodward is, and sickens people to the very core, which was what to begin with, and has a face like a potato, which is very disturbing. So that's probably one of the reasons why it's not working out so much for Man United with Ed Woodward in charge. I'd like to see it happen. You saw last season, Jose Mourinho was sickened this time last year. He spoke about in the preseason tour to the press that he wasn't getting the defender he wanted. That was a year ago. We've been crying out for a defender years. We still haven't gotten. Jose obviously wasn't given 100% control, because I don't think I'd want to give Jose 100% control anyway, because he's too bloody reckless with bringing in players and things like that. But at the same time, there's got to be a happy balance. There's got to be somebody who knows the role. There's got to be somebody who's got the best interest of improving the manager's team for the manager. And unfortunately, I just think, using us as an example, we don't have that. So I think our infrastructure is shite. There's other clubs around world football who've got the same issues. Sounds like Spurs, maybe Pochettino, they've got some issues there as well. But really, I think United do need to get a director of football, and football's just gone bloody mad. I miss the days when Alex Ferguson used to go and he used to talk to the tea ladies, talk to the kit men, talk to everybody like it was one big family. And of course, after the Glazers came in, it's all just this big corporate conglomerate. You've got to jump through all these hoops to get the same things achieved. And there isn't a place for a manager like Sir Alex Ferguson anymore, who had a more all-encompassing role within a football club. It's just not. You've got your head coach, you've got your tacticians, you've got your whatever, but you don't have your main man who's overseeing all ins and outs of the football club, who's overseeing stadium improvements, who's overseeing financial, commercial deals, who's overseeing sponsors, who's overseeing player contracts and player retention and player recruitment. And you don't have that anymore. It's all delegated out to different people. So, yeah,
it's certainly different from club to club. I mean, we were obviously speaking about Zinedine Zidane earlier, and I firmly believe that he has got a lot of influence in Real Madrid. You know, he wouldn't go back there unless he was, pulling the strings. Of course he wouldn't. You know, I'm surprised that he's gone back there anyway, let alone the amount of control that he has. And I compare his job and what he's doing right now to someone in the Premier League, like you mentioned, Steve Bruce. And it's, there's going to be a big difference in terms of what these characters are actually able to do. There's a big difference between we say manager, like every football team has a manager, but you need to look past that. Some teams have an actual manager, and some teams literally just have a coach. And hence Pochettino's words today. They should change my name to coach. And that maybe the media has spun it. Maybe they've tried to say it in a way that Mauricio Pochettino didn't mean. But
was it said in a negative way though? Do you know what I mean? Like, was he asked the question?
The way that the media is broadcast this or spun it, however you like to look at it, is in a respect where Pochettino wasn't happy. They said he wasn't happy, and he said it in a way where, like, you should change my job title because obviously I'm not manager, am I? I'm just a coach. You can fill some of those sentences with a few F words, kind of thing. Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe he's not a happy bunny then. That is awesome. I like to hear a bit of unrest.
It's awesome. That's not awesome at all.
It's awesome.
That's awful.
I love unrest at Spurs,
awful.
Anytime there's negativity surrounding the cockerels, I'm enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? Just want to read a few more comments.
We got any questions and answers? Well, I want some questions.
I just want to read a few more comments and questions here then, mate. So we've got a super chat from Gungshi, another one who says, are you two legends drinking alcoholic beverages today? I'll let you take that one, Hen.
I have been. Unfortunately, I have not been able to go and purchase another alcoholic beverage because I've been busy doing the Pig and the Hen show, walking around in fucking circles. But I have had some beers. I've had a
PPP. Piss poor planning, piss poor performance. Oh dear.
Are you finished?
I'm finished, yeah. We got a comment here from Elite who agrees with me. He says the flying pig, what a geezer. Just saying. Right, okay. Let me see if there's any comments here for the Hen, because it sounds like you're really looking for a question here, mate.
Oh, I couldn't give a fuck if no one's got a question. It doesn't matter, mate. I just listen to you open your fucking destructible trap.
Griffo Chaz comments, wasn't convinced on Maguire due to the price tag, but I now just want the transfer done so we have something. Thank you very much, Griffo Chaz. By the way, Griffo Chaz.
Great comment. Great comment.
Griffo Chaz is local to us, by the way, mate. So shout out to you, Griffo Chaz.
Do you know what that sounded like, Griffo Chaz? Do you know what you sounded like, Griffo, right there? You sounded like someone that voted Remain in the Brexit referendum, in the in or out EU referendum. But now you just want it done. Now you just want it done. It's kind of like, Maguire was overpriced, but no, I just want it done. And that sounds exactly the same as a lot of the people.
Yeah, I like your analogy, mate.
A lot of people that voted Remain, but now 3 years later, nobody knows what the fuck is going on, and people just want out. Clean break. Fair play to you, Chaz. Respect your opinion there.
I'm with you, though, Chaz. Get it done now, mate. The price is too much, really, but we need
it done. It's just get it done. Maguire, get Brexit done, mate. Out of the EU.
Are you sure you ain't been drinking, mate? Because it seems like you're getting steadily more pissed throughout this video.
I'm just worried that it's just getting boring. You know what I mean? Let's try and get some more views. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't getting boring, mate. It's fun, mate. You need to, well, to be fair, it does usually go down well when the Hen gets pissed out of his head.
Oh, no, I need another beer, to be honest. I'm probably starting to hang. That's the problem.
Oh, dear. Let's read a couple more comments out there. There's not that many coming through here at the end here, guys. So if you want us, I'm just got down to the end of the chat here. So thank you to everybody who sent them in. Oh, hang on. We've missed a super chat from Alex Rudd who says, working and listening. Thank you very much for listening to us while you're working there, Alex Rudd, and for super chatting in. You're a legend. Sorry, bit of gas there. Okay. So here we go. Let's read a few more comments out. Just one thing before we go into the questions. We'll allow people a few minutes to get the questions in. What do you think about Nicolas Pepe signing for Arsenal, potentially for £72 million? He was in London yesterday, supposedly to seal a medical, amid speculation that Arsenal hijacked the deal from Napoli to sign Nicolas Pepe. I'm going to tell you this now, Hen. I think that is a great signing. I would have liked to have seen Pepe join United this summer transfer window if the Glazers were prepared to spend.
Sure.
But they're not.
It's a good signing. What I would say is don't get too overexcited about the price. I think these days, that price is quite normal. That's the problem. Look at how low the pound is. Are we talking pounds? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking pounds sterling? Right. If you actually check the current value of pound sterling against the dollar, it's not great. It's the lowest it's been in 2 years. Okay. So for a start, if you spend a big dollar on any players, then it's going to be overinflated. It's going to look overinflated because of the low value of the pound right now. Also,
good point.
Yeah, you look at some of the
confident to sign teams from England. It's the best time for them to do it, I suppose. Yeah.
Of course, it's a great point. I mean, you look at some of the signings over the last few years anyway. I mean, 60, 70 million is more than normal. I mean, you look at it, 45, 50 million just for a mediocre player like Harry Maguire. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean...
Steady, I don't think he's a mediocre player. Do you know what I mean? He's a player who...
I'm joking.
Step up to the next level. He's the right age. He's coming into the best years of his career. Okay, I hear you. I do hear you. It's kind of like...
All I'm saying is don't hear 70 million now and think, oh, Cristiano Ronaldo, because I mean that's not the case anymore. You know, you look at it over £100 million for a player like that. You know, all the prices are overinflated. You know, they've done is they've signed a player the same way Tottenham Hotspur has. We've signed a Dybala straight in the team. He's looking decent. So you know, all the teams need to strengthen. This is exactly what any team needs to be doing. All Arsenal have done for me is they've signed a player that's got a good track record, that should hit the ground running, and they needed to do that. It's not like they've done something that means that they're going to win the fucking Premier League, you know. So, you know, what is there to talk about?
You've disappeared, mate. Your camera's gone off. We've got a few. We're going to wrap this up soon, but I just want to. We've got a few comments that have come in here at the end. Questions for the Hen. Let's see what people think. Gungshi says, Hen, what do you think of Ndombele? I would have liked him at United. Me too, Gungshi.
I think he's looked absolutely fine. You know, you can't expect a player just to come in and be the team, which he's not. You just want him to be part of the team, which he has been. He had a shot the other night. He's been fully involved. He's a strong player. He's got history with Sissoko. Not bad history. What I mean is he looks at Sissoko as an older brother. Time spent together in the French national side. I'd like to see them players playing together. I know he started with Winks the other night, but obviously you look at friendly games, players are coming in and out. I would be looking at a pairing, and I think Pochettino probably has the same idea of you. You're going to be looking at Sissoko and Ndombele looking after the middle of the park for Tottenham Hotspur for the coming season, and I can't really complain with that.
No, fair play, mate. I think he was really good against United the other day. Or looked pretty good. You know, dealt with Pogba very well. Was supposed to be this unbelievable midfielder, and he had him in his back pocket really for half an hour. So, yeah, I think he's a good signing for you. I think Gungshi, that is a good signing for us. So I would have liked to at United too. It's starting to piss down there. I can hear it. Kent Nyquist comments.
I'm going back to my shed. whoever mentioned that earlier.
Kent Nyquist, what a name, by the way. Kent Nyquist, what a fucking name. Comments, Henry, how are you feeling after the Champions League final? Spurs not even there, if you ask me. Yeah, they weren't really.
That's
Were they?
true.
Not at the races.
And Kent, you fucking Kent. Like basically, you're completely right. Like, even before the game started, I'd already accepted the fact that we were not going to win it. And I know that sounds defeatist, and that people might say that is like such a Spurs thing to do, just to bottle it as a fan, let alone the team. But no, there was reason behind it. We were slaughtered in terms of our stamina. We were stretched thin last season. We did great to get where we did. Liverpool, having missed out on the Premier League, they deserve to win the Premier League. I mean, since when does a team do that well and not win the Premier League? And the only reason they didn't was because Man City were just that tiniest bit better. It was a crazy Premier League season last season. But yeah, bottom line, we could not compete. Liverpool wanted it more than we did. They had the energy for it. You're right. We weren't there, and I knew that we weren't going to be there for the game. But I can't blame them. We just couldn't compete.
What do you make of Liverpool not signing any players this transfer window and having a really shite pre-season, losing loads of games and stuff? Does that mean anything? Did they really need to sign
anything. Doesn't
really
mean
need
anything. None of these friendlies, none of the results mean anything for me. Not at all. I don't even pay attention to them. I watch them here and there. I listen to the radio here and there. I find out the result. I find out what happened. Obviously, we do the Pig and the Hen show, so need to follow it. But do I really care about this pre-season bullshit? No, I don't, because it doesn't mean anything. You literally look at 11 players that start a game, and then every single player is getting changed every 10 minutes. Every 7 to 10 minutes, you're getting a substitute. I mean, that's not a real game of football at all. It's just a training exercise. So you really, can't look into it at all.
Pre-season, just to get the fitness up. Any new signings you've got in, get them bed in, get them settled in. Other than that, it doesn't really mean anything. Like our
doesn't mean
game
shit.
that we had.
The managers. Think about the managers. If you lose it, all the managers are going to say, "Oh, it's just a friendly. We're just mixing it up. I'm just checking how you getting on. I don't care about the result. I want to see how you're getting on in terms of your personal performances, each in terms of a team performance. And if you win it, you're just going to say, yeah, we won it. Well done, great. But it's not about winning. It's about finding out what we're going to be about for this coming season. So that's it, literally.
Question here from Matt Lewis. HEN, what are Spurs going to do about another striker? Surely you need one.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree, completely agree. I am the reason I brought up this Pochettino issue today in terms of the fact that he feels like he needs to be detitled. He needs to be a coach now rather than a manager. His words, that worries me greatly. It worries me greatly. It makes me think that he's not in charge. Levy's in charge. Whoever else is at the top of the Tottenham hierarchy there are making decisions about the players that are coming in and coming out. And yeah, every Tottenham fan knows, even every neutral knows, we need another striker, a proper striker, not Son Heung-min, not Lucas Moura, like an out-and-out striker. Bottom line, we've already released Janssen. We haven't re-signed Llorente. So you've highlighted what's this guy's name? This made the comment. Apologies. What's his name again?
Mr. Matthew Lewis.
Matthew Lewis. You've made a great point, because it's a massive hole that is not being filled. I don't think it's going to be filled, and I think Pochettino has actually said all we need to know as fans today. If you're a Tottenham fan, and if you're not, he's explained it to you as well as a neutral or a fan of another team there.
Respect, Hen, respect. Question for Henry from T3 Triple D. Don't know if I should bring this one out actually, but it says, how far can you stretch your foreskin? Well, I'll answer that for you. You can stretch it so far, it's called a 9 skin.
How far can I stretch my foreskin? I mean, but trying to achieve what? It's like you could say how far could you stretch your fucking, toenail, It's like, what are you trying to achieve? There's no point asking a question if it doesn't actually bear any answer worth knowing.
Respect. Just a question for me here from Matt. I want to answer because it's a good question. He says, should Chong go on loan because he doesn't look ready? Now, my personal opinion about Chong is I think he's ready to take the next step up and be a good player for United. Of course, he's not going to be week in, week out straight away, but he can do a bit part for us this year. Good late substitute, bit of freedom. He plays with that without fear. I've loved the bit of Chong action in this preseason. I know it's only preseason, and can these young players go in and do it in the Premier League against good opposition? They have to get that experience somehow. But I think in Chong's case, he's somebody who we should actually stick around at the club. I hope Ole Gunnar keeps him around and uses him and utilizes him here and there and progresses him slowly but surely, because I think he is got the potential to be a real quality player for us. I think he can do it now. I mean, based on how he looked in preseason against some of the good teams that we have played, I know it's preseason, but there's still good players he's coming up against. He's done really, really well. He's got the moves. He's got the ability to beat a man. He's got the confidence to shoot from distance, and he's got the vision. Really impressed with him. One of the players that I was most impressed with in the preseason tour, I'd say. So thank you very much for your question again there, Matt. Absolute legend.
I mean, what you
Thank
do
you very
need,
much.
though, I mean, you know, he looks decent, but he's missing his sidekick.
Oh, Cheech.
Yeah. That's it, mate. You know, Cheech. Like Chicharito, mate. You get back the P, happy days.
100%. We need to get back the little P, Cheech and Chong.
Just imagine if you had Chicharito and Chong, mate. Cheech and Chong, mate.
Amazing.
Funny as fuck, isn't it?
Amazing. What would they do? They'd have to like pull out a blunt after they scored a goal or something. Awesome. Anyway, should we wrap this one up, Hen?
Well, I guess so. If there's no other pressing questions, there's no other pressing topics on your mind or mine.
I'm just thinking about the time. It's at 4:30 now, so we've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes. That's not too shabby. I'm also always aware that you've got telephonic issues when it comes to battery life and things like that.
No, I'm
fine. How are you getting on?
I didn't even run out last. You were, because I obviously rewatched the show after I was cut off last time. I was cut off because of technical issues. Nothing to do with my battery. All the pig does is just jump on. Oh, his battery's fucked. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Pig, for just blaming my phone and my battery problem, which that was not the issue at all. So I'd like to get that statement out there and just correct anyone that was misinformed by your explanation there.
Absolutely pleased to hear it. Yes, I mean that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Unless you just want to talk about something else other than football. Obviously, Dillian White's just been done for steroids or performance enhancers. Somebody that we were talking about on the podcast a couple of weeks ago as a potential to maybe make that step up and be able to challenge the likes of, Joshua and Wilder and Fury and all these people. Turns out he's a freaking cheating bastard. Do you know what I mean? Although surely
I can say, I mean, Dillian White, if he's been cheated, it's not good. This leads on to a bigger topic now with people taking drugs in general. Are we not
going to talk about it at all then?
I think we should talk about things that we're going to talk about next for the next show, so people can actually leave their comments about things that they'd like to expand on in terms of the topics that we're going to mention now. So we're talking about drug use in sport. I think that has been a massive issue for the last half a century for sure, in all sports. Now you do have a new problem with transsexual performers in sport. Okay, and I'm going to tell you this right now. I do not have a problem with someone that is identifies as a transsexual, is converting from male to female, female to male, whatever you want to do. It's all good with me. However, we do now have this trend of transsexuals, actual male converting to female, getting involved in sports, and actually winning trophies. I think UFC. I know you're a fan of UFC yourself, Flying Pig, but what is it? Fox, something Fox. Fallon Fox was it? Which she absolutely beat the shit out of other female UFC fighters, and this raised a lot of eyebrows, and I think it's a topic that I would like to speak about more. It's something that we should talk about on the Pick and the Hen show.
very interesting topic. I'd like to talk about that as well. I mean, you do hear about, in my opinion, I'll just say this. There's no way that somebody with physical advantages should be fighting somebody with physical disadvantages, no matter what, gender they are. So physical bone structure and things like that. I mean, obviously, the two genders have different bone structures from birth. So that is an issue for me, but we'll get into that a bit more next week. But I agree with you.
So that's one topic that we can get ready for next week. Also, I don't know how many of you are from the UK, either England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, or you might be Irish, you might be French, German, European, international, American, Australian, Canadian, from anywhere in the world. But the number one political topic at the moment for anyone that is British is Brexit, which means Britain, the UK leaving the European Union, which is now supposed to happen on October the 31st. We have a new Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. It is a hot topic. I know that the Pig and the Hen show is a football channel, but it is something that I think me and the Pig will discuss. So that is something else. And please get your comments and your questions and anything that you'd like us to actually touch upon regarding that subject. We will look at that in the next Pig and the Hen show.
There we go. Something to look forward to there. Boris Johnson, transsexuals, Brexit. They're pretty much all the same thing, aren't they? So anyway, we'll definitely do that next week. So just want to give a big shout out to everybody who's tuned into this live Pig and the Hen show. I'm pleased that the stream has lasted this long today without any issues. So much appreciated you, Hen, doing whatever you've been doing there to keep this going. Also, everybody who's taken the time to send comments and interact with this live stream on the Pig and the Hen Show podcast live stream here, thank you so much for getting involved. If I've not read out your comments, understand that I would try to. Obviously, I'm trying to have a conversation and keep everything going with Henry here, but I will respond to everybody's comments who comes back after the Pig and the Hen show is finished, and comments in the non-live comment section. I will respond to absolutely everybody there. So if you've got a comment to make that wasn't read out in this live stream, make sure you do stick around to get your thoughts in, and I will respond to them in due course. But thank you so much to everybody who's tuned. We've got a late super chat here from Jarvis Cocker, of all people, who I make the same joke every time. But Jarvis, let's meet up in the year 2000.
People, I want to do what every common people do. I can't even remember the fucking lyrics, but yeah, I give it a go. That's about right, isn't it?
He's just commented with a joke. Ready? I've got a joke for you, Henry, from Jarvis Cocker. Ready? He says, "Why was the guitar teacher arrested? For fingering A minor."
Wow.
I do like that one. That's a good one.
Disgusting. I just before you cut me out. Just before you cut me out, I did just want to mention the Pig and the Hen theme. It's back at the beginning of the podcast now. You can hear that kind of Game of Thrones rip-off there. What was your thoughts on the final season of Game of Thrones, if you have indeed seen it, Mr. Pig?
Well, spoiler alert, you might want to tune out now if you've not tuned out, got in with up to date with Game of Thrones. But my personal opinion on it, I was very disappointed with it, mate. I mean, my sister liked it, but I was really didn't like it. I thought they just made it too easy. They made it too happy. There should have been some militant crap at the end that happened, or even if not that, they should have just been a bit more of an epic end for Jon Snow. Jon Snow should have been the freaking king, mate. Do you know what I mean? They could have easily done it. All they had to do, I saw some synopsis of it on the internet. All they had to do is, like Grey Worm and all those guys were hating on Jon Snow because he just killed Daenerys and they want him executed. Well, just
such a pussy move, mate. Such a pussy move just to stab her like that.
Let me tell you.
What is that?
I know, that was
disgusting,
pussy.
Mate. It disgusted me.
So uncharacteristic
pussy, mate.
That was whack. But anyway, he obviously ended up going back to a nice watch. But the point I was going to make is all they would have had to have done after that, really, to make it a better conclusion would be not have all that shite where they've just got Tyrion comes in, he's out of his jail cell, and then they're just like, he says, yeah. I think freaking Bran should be king, and then they're like, no, shut up. Who cares what you think? You're a freaking prisoner. And he goes, oh yeah, good one, but really, I think Bran should be king. They go, all right then. That's basically what happened there. It was shocking.
Mate, what happened? I'll tell you what, the North American writers were looking at the situation of real British politics and Parliament and thought, well, that's obviously how it's done in the old English way, you know, the old British way. And they thought, well, we'll just write the story like that, where they're all just sort of fucking looking like absolute melts. That's what happened at the end, mate. I'm so disappointed. Jon Snow stabbing Daenerys like that is, as he said, absolutely. It just didn't feel right. He just fucking killed her. And she didn't even see it coming. Does that make him the hero? Not at all. You never see a man kill a woman where she doesn't know it's coming and make out that that was the right thing to do, regardless of the fucking, bigger picture of it.
I think it was lazy writing in general, mate. I mean, even that whole Jaime Lannister and what's her fucking face, the Queen, when they died, it's like I wanted something a bit more epic than that. You know, this Queen has been killing people for 8 seasons now, and she goes out by a bunch of rocks falling on her head. Come on, do me a favour. You got bloody the Mountain squeezing freaking Prince Oberyn's eyeballs out and squishing his head to bits, and then she just gets killed by a pile of rocks.
I know, mate. No, they outdone Lost, mate. I mean, Lost was a great TV series back in the day, and it built up, but it started to tail off, and then the last series was fucking diabolical. Game of Thrones topped that. They topped that because everybody actually thought, this is amazing. You know, we've watched however many seasons. It's the final season. It's going to be the best thing I've ever seen on TV in my whole life. I'm literally going to have like a stonk on this reaching my forehead and like, coming in my hair. And it just did not happen at all.
I know, it didn't happen at all. It is like the Lost scenario. Maybe not as bad as Lost. Lost probably my favourite programme ever up until about series 3. And then after that, it goes to wank the final series. The way that they end it, oh my God, absolutely dreadful, mate. So that that ruins the show for me. Even though the first few series are amazing, Game of Thrones, they ended it so shoddily. I'm very disappointed with them. Sort your freaking lives out. That's why I tell you that. Anyway,
it didn't seem like, even though it's fiction, it didn't seem like reality within the fiction. I'll leave it with that.
Yeah. Gungshi with a good final point we'll just end on. He says, at least the Hound and his brother had a semi-decent final fight. Absolutely, Gungshi. That was the best part of the whole end thing, when he's had a fight with the Mountain. And, he's got his eyes, he stabbed him in the freaking head, and then he's rammed him off the side of the castle into the fire. That was the most epic bit of the whole thing. Other than that, piss poor. That's right.
Yeah, we'll not disagree. Look forward to the topics that we've got coming up next week. Make sure you comment on those in terms of any transfer news, any football-related stuff that's coming up. Please get in touch with the pig so that we're ready to talk about on the next podcast. But until then, I'll let you finish off the show.
Lovely stuff. Thank you for joining me, Henry. You've been watching the Pig and the Hen show. I've been the pig. And you, Henry?
I've been the hen.
So thanks everybody for tuning in. Everybody who's sent in comments, everybody who's liked this video, smash a like on it before you go. Please do us a favor. You can also, you can also download this podcast, or you can listen to it on your podcast audio app, whichever one you use, by searching the Pig and the Hen show or Flying Pig podcast. Check them out. For now, you have yourselves a good one. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this Pig and the Hen show. We've talked about all the topics that we have, and get your thoughts on those topics in below after this video has been published. I've been the pig. So. He's been the hen. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching your questions.
By the way, the reason that we've obviously taken that Game of Thrones theme tune is because they ended the season so badly that Game of Thrones legacy needs to continue, and it will continue through the Pig and the Hen. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Have yourselves a good one. Peace.
It's time now for the Pig and the Hen.
Pig and the Hen show. Pig and the Hen show.
It's time now for the Pig and the Hen show.
Pig and the Hen show. Pig and the Hen show.
Pig and the Hen. Pig and the Pig Hen Show, Pig and the Hen Show, Pig and the Hen Show. Pig and the Hen Show, Pig and the Hen Show.